Sha'alu, Shalom Yerushalayim, Yishalayu Avayach. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. Together at the bottom. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. Let's continue back on page 20 with L'Chadodi.
L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela 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 Shamor Mizachor B'dibur Echad Hishmi'anu El Hamiuchad Adonai Echad Hu Shemo Echad L'Shem Tiferet Ve'litila L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela Likrat Shabbat B'chu B'necha Ki Mekor HaBeracha Merosh Mikedem Nesucha Sof Maaseh V'machshavat Techila L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela Hitori Kiva Orech Kumi Uri Shir Daberi Kevod Adonai Halayich Nigla L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela Boi v'shalom atereh bala Gam v'simcha utzola Toch emuneh am segula Boi chala L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela L'Chadodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Likabela.
Please turn to the people around you and wish each other Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So let's continue our service now on page 27. Page 27. And read together at the bottom. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruits so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise.
As each
This morning and night you renew your days. Bless my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the divine presence. Amen. Let's turn to page 28. Please rise as able for Baruch Hu.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Do you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalalai lai lai, 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 yalalai lai lai.
On page 30. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach sha'arim, uvidvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakiach yirtzono, boreyom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'hoshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid emloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai.
Hamariv.
Aravim. On page 33 at the bottom, let's read together. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
May be seated. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 39 at the bottom, we read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai, we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha be'erav hakodesh. No ratehilo, no sefele, no sefele, no sefele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha be'erav hakodesh. No ratehilo, no sefele, no sefele, no sefele. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Let's continue on the bottom of page 43. Together, give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, v'al amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Top of page 44.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam. Beini u'bein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam. U'bayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorot haberit olam.
So now we turn to page 46, and as a community we rise as able for tefillah.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agit teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Agadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geulah livnei bneihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezras Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah, Rab le'Hoshia. Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem. Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim berofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'nei manat al hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh, Shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
And let us all say amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. And we continue on the bottom of page 54. Together, our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot. Grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant as our heritage your holy Shabbat, that Israel who sanctifies your name may rest on it. Praised to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu b'amcha Yisrael, v'tfilatam b'ahavat tekabel, v'hi ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha, b'yirah na'avod. Together on the bottom of page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us a little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha ulcha na'eh lehodot. Let's take a moment and turn to our prayer for peace. Page 60, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amacha, Tasim Leolam. 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 Ki ata melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amacha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Yisrael Amacha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'neicha levarech et Amacha Yisrael b'chol het ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם, תשים לעולם.
Take a pause now to think about the people in our world who are in need of a blessing of healing this Shabbat. The list grows longer and longer, and we add to this list all of those who are struggling with life. whose lives are made hard by the world around them. This week I'm thinking of Jewish students who are attending college campuses around the country, who are embattled this week by Hamas protests that target the Jewish students on campus. So let's hold them up as well. In our community, we call out the names of Wanda Berkowitz, Margot Sackler, Wendy Long, Bill Ellis, Tommy Joe Scott, and Ruth Alford. And in our families, we call out Judith Levy, Monroe Zeffert, Aaron Kugler, Ellen Levin, Karen Ellis, Philip Richardson, Shmuel Rosenzweig, Mitchell Shermer, Eve Goldstein, Bob Rosen, Charles Kurt, Christina Kurt, Tanya Thompson, Joshua Godfrey, Ricky Ben-Or, Jerry Hansel, Nikayla Williams, and John Peacock. And if we had any names to list to add as we go around the room. Let's turn in our prayer books to page 253. Page 253.
Misheberach avotenu mekor habracha ve'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May the Holy and Blessed One bring healing to all those that we have named, those out loud and those in our own hearts. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
So, in the Torah this Shabbat, we find an all too familiar story. In fact, we're living it right now. With over 200 captives in Gaza today, once again, we're being asked, what is the price of freedom? In 2011, The Israeli government released 1,000 Palestinians from Israeli jails in order to secure the release of Gilad Shalit, who had been captured in 2006 while on patrol. And today, without our continued pressure, the world might turn away from the men, women, and children, God forbid, out of a sense of appeasement. It's an ancient story, and one which Jewish tradition has much to say. And we must cry out, never again. Let's take a look at the Torah. In Genesis chapter 13, we find this story. Kedar Laomer, the king of Elam, ruled much of the region to the north and east of the land of Canaan, but remained unsatisfied. So he led his army in a series of wars, massacring whoever crossed his path, building an empire of countries whose kings were loyal and willing to pay an annual tribute. After 12 years, 5 countries within the empire banded together and stopped answering to Kedar Laomer. The dictators of each of these lands were strong and cruel, and united, they quit paying tribute for 13 years and formed a coalition against him. Although 3 kings remained faithful, Kedar Laomer prepared to serve the insurgents a heavy blow they wouldn't forget. So in the 14th year of this insubordination, Kedar Laomer traveled south, flanked by the armies and the kings of 3 nations who had remained faithful. Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elazar, and Tidal, king of Goyim. Meanwhile, 5 rulers in the south, King Bera of Sodom, King Birsha of Gomorrah, King Shinhab of Admah, King Shemever of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zoar. They met up in the valley of Siddim. They believed that they would enjoy an important advantage, believing that they were the 5 against the 4. They also hoped that nearby kings who were similarly oppressed by Kedar Laomer would join in their cause. When the 2 groups met, war broke out. Entire cities were wiped off the map by powerful northern armies. Other mighty nations in the area were also badly beaten. The 5 defending armies were left weak and in disarray. Kedar Laomer and his allies returned home victorious, having captured many victims, seizing their possessions and food supplies. As the 4 kings plundered Sodom, they were determined to capture one person in particular, Lot, the nephew of Abraham. Lot used to live alongside his uncle, but they parted ways when their herds grew to avoid disputes over pasturing grounds. Lot settled in Sodom, where he rose to prominence as one of the city's councilmen. The 4 kings made sure to capture and torture him because of his kinship to Abraham, whom they despised. Who was Abraham? A refugee, managed to flee for his life in the past. But wouldn't you know, someone escaped from the trashing of Sodom and came to tell Abraham that Lot had been captured. Abraham's intentions were far from noble. According to Rashi, he said to himself, I know that Abraham is a kind man, but when he hears that Lot has been taken captive, he'll spare no effort to rescue him from the enemy army. Surely he will be killed. Og, that was the tattletale, if you will, hoped that he would then marry Sarai, Abraham's beautiful wife. Og was right, sort of. When Abraham learned of his nephew Lot's predicament, he gathered the members of his household to join him on a daring rescue mission. Abraham sensed their fear, rebuked them for their lack of faith, and gave them money and precious stones. He even offered them a way out. Is there anyone among you who is faint-hearted, he asked? Is there anyone who is afraid to go into battle? Let him return home now. Wouldn't you know, most took up that offer, leaving just a few men at Abraham's side, including Eliezer, his longtime servant. For Abraham, he was not afraid. His indomitable faith in God made him certain he'd succeed. Abraham and his small army set out in the darkness of night. Although they were 10 days' travel from the four kings, they miraculously reached Damascus, where they were located, in a single day. When Abraham and his army faced their opponents, Abraham threw dust and straw, according to the Midrash, in their direction. Miraculously, when the dust and straw were airborne, God turned them into spears and arrows. Conversely, the arrows and spears that were directed at Abraham, God turned into dust and straw. When the kings realized that they were powerless against Abraham, they ran for their lives. Abraham pursued them until night fell, when it became too dark to see where they were heading. Abraham divided his troops into smaller groups to seek the enemy in as many directions as possible. 3 of the 4 mighty kings were killed. Only Amraphel survived. And Abraham returned with his nephew Lot, whom he had freed from captivity, and all of the possessions and people that were taken in the war. While this story ends on a positive note, evil vanquished, captives freed, our situation today not so clear. The Israeli military says that 224 people are currently being held hostage by Hamas, but adds that that number could be higher. 4 hostages have been released so far. 2 women, Nurit Cooper and Yocheved Lifshutz, they were freed on Monday. Last Friday, October 20th, 2 other hostages, a mother and a daughter, were also freed. Hamas says they hid the hostages in safe places and tunnels within Gaza. The IDF have previously said that the hostages include 20 children between the ages of 10 and between 10 and 20. And today, Hamas claims that since being taken captive, that around 50 of those hostages have been killed. Of course, there's no evidence for any of that. So this Shabbat, we're joining hundreds of communities around the globe in a time of community as we reflect and advocate for the hostages that were taken. In the lobby, there are blue ribbons. The blue ribbon symbolizes support and solidarity for the safe return of the hostages taken by Hamas terrorists in Israel. It symbolizes solidarity with the hostages, their families, and all who care about their safety. Wearing a blue ribbon publicly unites you with people of all religions, races, nationalities, ethnicities, ages, and generations, and demonstrates for the people of Israel that they're not alone, and that good people across the globe are with them and their families during this darkest of times. Send a powerful message by wearing your ribbon, not just tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday, and Monday that follows, and every day. Wear it daily until the hostages are home safe. Our responsibility to remember them is more necessary today than ever before. I don't know about you, but I remember in 1979 when the U.S. Embassy was overrun by Iranian terrorists, and all of those embassy workers were taken hostage. And what did we do? We tied yellow ribbons around trees. We hung yellow ribbons from flagpoles. As a country, we never forgot them. And while it took 444 days to get them out of Iran, we never gave up. Let's not give up on our own people. Wear your ribbons. Wear them proudly. And when someone asks you why, tell them, we never forget. The Talmud calls Pidyon Shvuim, redeeming the captives, a mitzvah rabbah, a great mitzvah, as captivity is worse than starvation and death. Maimonides wrote, the redeeming of captives takes precedence over supporting the poor or clothing them. There's no greater mitzvah than redeeming captives. For the problems of the captives include hunger and thirst, clothing, and they're in danger of their lives too. Ignoring the redemption of captives goes against Torah. And the Shulchan Aruch adds, every moment that one delays in freeing captives is considered tantamount to murder. Despite the importance of a mitzvah, there's also a concern about the cost of redeeming captives. So our tradition teaches that we should avoid encouraging kidnappers by paying a high price. It's a hard tradition to follow when our enemies know that we will do whatever we need to get our captives home. Judaism takes very seriously the need to never forget the plight of the captive. Saving a life is as if you've saved the entire world. One cannot turn away from someone in need. So tonight we're going to close together. Each of you picked up a pamphlet that says, Prayer for the Welfare and Return of Israel's Capture. This prayer was written by my Reformed colleagues in Israel. If you need copies, they're up here. Carol, can you pass out the copies? Some people don't have them. No, the ones on the, Carol. These. Yeah. All right. So let's read together. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham and Sarah, Isaac and Rivka, Yaakov, Leah, and Rachel, may he bless the captured and the many kidnapped citizens, men, women, and young children, held in painful captivity in Gaza among them, along with all who are in captivity and distress. May it be your will, Adonai Tzevaot, God of hosts, to rescue and redeem these souls and return them swiftly to their families on the land of Israel. As it is written, thus said God, a cry is heard in Ramah, wailing, bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children who are gone. Thus said God, restrain your voice from weeping, your eyes from shedding tears. For there is a reward for your labor, declares God. They shall return from the enemy's land. Oh, if it were so. Please, after services, if you haven't already, take a ribbon, take one to, if you have a partner or spouse at home, take it to them. Tell them to wear it. Let's let our blue ribbons float high and not forget of those who are captured. Amen. Carol?
Shabbat Shalom. Nice to see everyone this evening. Welcome to guests. We have one guest that drove to San Antonio to look for a sanctuary, and he's driving back to San Antonio. So please make sure you welcome him and speak to him and give him a nice Temple Sinai welcome. So we have a couple of different things going on. You know, we always have something going on. So planning for the inevitable. A conversation hosted by Houston Jewish Funerals. Have you shared your desires with your family? What plans have you made? These and many other questions will be discussed with Jane Shapiro from Houston Jewish Funerals and Rabbi Lipper. Sunday, 10 o'clock, here at Temple Sinai. Breakfast will be hosted by Houston Jewish Funerals. And we're having a casino night here at Temple Sinai. Call Cindy if you'd like to purchase tickets. And that will be on November 11th from 6 to 10 o'clock. Tickets are $55 per person. Thank you so much.
I also want to remind everyone tomorrow morning there is a study at 9 a.m. We're reading through the Kuzari, Judah Halevi's tremendous text of the conversion of the Khazar kingdom, which the Khazar kingdom is modern-day Ukraine. So in many ways, it's the birth of Ukrainian Jewry. Some of us come from there. So it's a very interesting read. We also have services tomorrow morning at 10:30. So let's continue our service on page 283 as we rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלא המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו,
בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
May be seated. At this sacred time, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our unloved ones, those whom our friends and our neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race, nation, and faith, whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. This Shabbat, we mark a sad moment. 5 years ago today was the assault on the Tree of Life Synagogue. And so we add the names of the 11 who were killed to our regular Kaddish list. Joyce Feinberg, Richard Gottfried, Rose Mallinger, Jerry Rabinowitz, Cecil Rosenthal, David Rosenthal, Bernice Simon, Sylvan Simon, Daniel Stein, Melvin Wax, Irving Younger. This week we remember the following yard-sites. Rabbi Howard Rabinowitz, husband of Linda. Sandy Herman, husband of Ruth. Ronnie Rankin, brother-in-law of Bob Horowitz. Lila Whetstone, sister-in-law of Art Barish. Adele Hirsch, mother of Howard Neuwirth Hirsch, grandmother of Lori Neuwirth Hirsch. Milton Schleifer, father of Joyce Boyne. And Robin Schwartz, the niece of Ed and Ruth Stievelman. Are there any additional names for Kaddish this evening? For all of them, we say Zechronam Livraha. May their memories be a blessing. Together we turn to page 294 as we rise as able for Kaddish. Yet Gadav Yet Kadash Shemei Rabbah Bi'alama Devarach Yerute V'yamlech Malchute B'chayechon V'yamechon V'v'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala V'zman Kariv V'meru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Elamei Elamaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach Par V'tramam V'yitnaseh V'tadar V'taleh V'talal Shemei Dekut Shabrichu Le'ela Min Kol Berchata V'shirata Tushbachata V'nehemata Damiran V'yalama V'yimaru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabbah Min Shemaya V'hayim Aleinu V'yal Kol Yisrael V'yimaru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'maramav, Uya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, and bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And let us all say, Amen. Because it comes from our Torah portion at the very beginning of chapter 12, God calls to Abraham and says, Lech lecha, go forth. It's a message we all need to hear about going forward in our lives. Page 341. Let's join together with Lechi lach.
Lechi lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing. Lechi lach. Lechi lach, and I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechi lach, to a place that I will show you. L'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, l'simchat chaim, lechi lach. And you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, and you shall be a blessing, lechi lach.
Shabbat Shalom. Please join us for Kiddush and Motzi.